Hey everybody, it is James with Love My Pups, my breeder supply. So today I'm going to do a video on co-ownership of a female dog. And what prompted this was actually two things that happened literally within the last 24 hours. The first one is that I posted litters of three litters. We have three litters of Frenchies that we have on our website. So there's some beautiful dogs, but that prompted somebody who made the comment, it seems like you're a puppy mill. How can you have pumping out that many dogs every month? And you can see the reply to that if you want to look through the link. But it was a fair enough question. And then I had another phone call today from a customer of mine who asked about co-ownership. So I'm going to let you into a secret about how I do this. So the first thing is the comment about pumping out puppies, every month. No, we don't do that. What happened is that we had three dogs that went into heat at the same time. And because of that, we ended up with three sets of puppies, literally within 10 days apart. So it looks like we have a huge number of puppies. That's an unusual situation for us. But that's not the important part about this story. The important part about this story is co-ownership and how you can do it successfully that works out well for you and your partner, and more importantly, your female, your doggy. So, the established way of doing co-ownership, which I don't do, is that you go into partnership with somebody and maybe the two of you buy a dog and you split the cost of buying the dog, and then somebody looks after the dog, somebody's paying for the dog food, somebody's paying for the stud fees. You took all that together at the end of it and you do some kind of a split on the profits after you've had puppies. All right, great, wonderful. I don't do that. I've never done that. I'm not one. The only partnership I have is the one with my wife, and that works well because we're both absolutely geared towards the same goals. Now, I've had a partnership for a business since 1981. That business is still going, but my original partners and myself retired from it. But that was a really successful partnership, and that is an unusual thing for a partnership that is not a marriage that lasts for 40 years. That is an unusual thing. And typically what happens in partnerships is that people change. They get different desires and wants. They feel like somebody's doing more than the work, they're doing more than the work than somebody else. And the whole thing gets to be a big mess. So for that reason, I don't get into those kind of partnerships at all. But I do get into kind of a co-ownership situation with my dogs. And this is the way I do it. So I'll have a litter of puppies, and I'll have a really spectacular female in that litter that I think that is a girl that really should have some more puppies for other people. The problem gets to be is that there's only a limited amount of time and effort that you can have to devote properly towards having a dog and having puppies from it. Certainly to have 7, 8, 10 females and to be able to treat them like the beautiful Frenchies they are would be very difficult. And I don't do any part of that. What I do is I find somebody, specifically normally it's a friend, but somebody who wants a French Bulldog. They really want a French Bulldog, but they don't have the kind of money that I am selling one of my puppies for. I give them a dog. That is the beginning of this partnership. I give them the dog. So they're like, you're just going to give me a dog? What's the catch in this? And it's like, well, there is a catch in it. The catch is that you're going to have that dog and you're going to look after it and you're going to treat that like the other dog you had before. So that's another part of this whole process. I try to find somebody, I always find somebody who's had a history of looking after a dog to old age. Somebody that's had a dog and that dog has been with them since a puppy till it was 10, 15, 20 years old. They may still have the dog, but the dog may have died at this point. But basically, they have shown commitment to what anybody who's had a dog knows it's like having a child. It's a 24/7 process where you've got to make sure that animal is happy and cared for. So I find somebody who wants a French Bulldog, who's had a dog before, has proven that they know what they're doing and they have a commitment towards looking after the animal. They get the French Bulldogs. So they're like, I'm getting a $5,000, $10,000 French Bulldog and I'm not paying anything for it. This is fantastic. What have I got to do? And the answer is what they've got to do is look after that dog 24/7 like it's their family, a member of their family, because that's what it is. And I like to do this from a puppy stage so they can be with the dog, develop a relationship with the dog, their family loves the dog, and then the dog goes into heat and it's a year and a half down the road, and then they bring the dog back to me. And I worry with the studying process, I worry with the mating process. I get the dog pregnant, I had the dog for a week while that's going on, and then the dog goes back to their house, their family environment for the next couple of months before it's ready to have puppies. And when it's ready to have puppies, a few days beforehand, the dog comes back to me. And I look after her for the next few days while we go through the work process, and then a few days after she's had the puppies to make sure that everything's going well, that mum's accepted the puppies and the puppies are gaining weight and everything's great and happy. And then they get the puppies and mum back too. And then they raise those puppies. Those puppies, they're excited. If they've got kids, the kids are very excited. They raise those puppies in their house. And then my next responsibility is to find new homes for the puppies. So that's my next task is to basically do the marketing part of the whole process. And then what do they get out of it? Well, they get out of having a French Bulldog that normally they would not have been able to probably afford. They get a really special French Bulldog because that's the one that we kept. And they get money for doing this whole thing. So when we sell the puppies, they participate in the profit side of the whole equation. Now, the specifics of how you do that is entirely up to the way that you would work this out. I can tell you about how I do this. Typically, I do a 1-2 split. They have 3 puppies. They basically get 1 puppy. I get 2 puppies. And what we end up doing is the puppy that they have, they can either have the puppy or we sell that puppy and they get the proceeds from that puppy. So if you sell 3 puppies for $15,000, they can either take a puppy or they can get $5,000. So from their situation, what they've got is the French Bulldog they always wanted but couldn't afford, a really beautiful, beautiful French Bulldog, one that's really top-notch, really top of the cream of the crop type of French Bulldog, and they got $5,000 for the year. What a fabulous deal for them, and what a great deal for me too, and what a great deal for the Frenchie itself, because that Frenchie is now in a home, being cared for, loved on for the rest of its life. So this is a commitment that they make for their entirety. They don't take this dog and have a litter of puppies from it and then they give me the dog back. The commitment is they're going to look after this dog, and they're going to look after this dog, in the appropriate manner. And I've got, I don't know what now, some 10 dogs out there that I'm doing this with, and I have never had a single problem with any of this. It's not, well, I say there's never been a single problem. There's some things where you can get sick dogs and things have to be resolved and sorted out, and it still work. But it has really been a really great relationship that still have with all of those people. And so I would say if you're thinking about getting into a co-ownership, think about that way of doing it. It's you've got control of the ship, you're in charge, you're getting the bulk of the proceeds from it, but the dog is getting a commitment from the family and being treated like it should be treated. It's not in a kennel. And part of the reason why I'm saying this video is that I got that comment about us being a puppy mill, and we are so far from being a puppy mill, it's laughable. We really absolutely care about one thing more than anything else, and that's the livelihood and the respect and the treatment of all of our animals, and that's our cats, it's our dogs, it's our horses, it's our children. They're all under our care, and they all get really absolutely hopefully the best treatment we can give them. And that would not be the case if I had the 8 dogs I have scattered around. If I had other families, if I had them all with me, it would not be the same situation. I wouldn't want to be any part of it. So, how do you find the person who's the right person to have on your dogs? Well, the answer is you want to have them as a local person. You don't want somebody who's in another state. It's too hard to go get all this transitioning done. The best you can have is to have somebody who lives within, a few miles, 10, 15 miles away from you, and no further away than that. Because you need to go visit the dog, you need to go do things like pick the dog up when it's time to do studying. If there's any health issues, you need to go take care of those things. And you just generally want to be there for the family to help in any way that you can. And it's hard to do that if the dog's 100 miles away. So I would recommend, if you're going to do this, certainly for the first time, find somebody who's local to you. The next thing is find somebody who has shown their commitment towards a dog, specifically a dog, not a cat, a dog, because dogs are different than cats. Somebody who knows what it takes. You can't go on vacation and not look after the dog. You can't You know, if you're going to be gone for the weekend, you've got to take the dog with you, or somebody's got to go look after that dog in the right manner. So somebody who's had a dog, shown their commitment to the dog, I think that's paramount to the whole process. And then spell out this thing in some kind of an informal contract that explains, you know, how this is going to work. Who really owns the dog? What happens when the dog stops having puppies? In our situation, that dog then becomes the dog family member and it stays with the family. What happens if something goes wrong? If the dog doesn't have puppies, what happens? Well, the answer to that one is the dog stays with the families that we chose, and that's their dog. What happens if the dog gets run over? In our situation, with our contract, they're not liable for it. We trust them to do whatever they should be doing to the dog, and something goes wrong is unfortunately one of those things, and we're not going to hold anybody responsible for it. But all of those things definitely, you know, this is the thing about contracts. Contracts show people what you expect to happen, and then they explain what will happen if things go wrong. And that's the important part of the contract. Most of the time a contract's not needed, it's completely irrelevant to the whole process, everybody's friends, but you just want to make sure that everybody knows what the playing field is, and if something happens on the playing field that's abnormal, exactly how it's going to be treated, so you don't get into some kind of ridiculous litigation over the whole thing. Over the years we've had very few problems, but there have been a few issues. We've always be on the side of our families who have the dog, and the well-being of the dog is the thing that matters the most to us. But I thought I'd just share that because I think it's an interesting way of doing a co-ownership without you really, you know, you don't really have a partner, you have a family who's looking after your dog, and they're basically getting some of the proceeds for doing that. In Oklahoma, there's some rules about how many intact females that you can have. I think it's 4. Any more than 4 intact female dogs, then you have to be a commercial facility, and I have no interest in being a commercial facility, and so I have 2 females, and I have 2 females that are in the house with us. I also have, always need at least 1 female because I have to have it as a teased female for my stud dogs, so that's another benefit for me. But anyway, and I've talked long enough about this, but if you are thinking about co-owning, then, or if you have a really beautiful female puppy that you've had that people don't want to pay you what the thing is worth, and you think it's really a special dog, think about this process, because it can really work well for the dog, it can work well for you, and it can work well for another family. So, as always, thank you for watching my videos. If you think we're full of rubbish, let us know. If you like it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us. And hey, be nice to your doggies. Bye, everybody.